Another movie that's on our list. So one of our friends for sure is gonna hate us for.
Sorry, Jason.
Yeah, sorry, Jason. It's like for us it's the ska of horror movies. Just kidding. I love ska
horror movies.
But I'm gonna let Jordan talk about this one because I think he hates it more than I do. I don't like it, but I think I could. If it's all in the background, I could withstand it. I don't know about Jordan though.
Okay, so here's my thing with the little movie we're talking about. Is called Shaun of the Dead. Now, I'm a huge zombie movie guy. Seuss knows that. Most people know that. I love all the Romero's. Well, the early Romero movies, not the later years.
You don't like Land of the Dead, Lake of the Dead?
Okay, Land of the Dead is still kind of fun. Land of the Dead's fun.
Yeah.
But
hey, look over there.
That's some great parts. Dennis Hopper rules. Even what's his name? Emilio Estevez. Yeah. What's his name?
No, it wasn't Emilio Estevez. Emilio Estevez was not.
John Leguizamo. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I was just going for it. Anyway, the point is that Shaun of the Dead. I love zombie movies. I love the Romero ones. I love Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, even Day of the Dead. Some of those. My whole problem with Shaun of the Dead is that I get the humor that Simon Pegg and the other guy, I forget what the other guy's name is, his buddy. Anyway, it's okay.
I'll get it.
But the point is, Edgar Wright, does that sound correct?
It sounds right, but
okay.
I'm not 100%.
But the whole point is that I think they did a good job with it for what they did. Like the effects were cool.
Nick Frost.
Nick Frost, I'm sorry.
He's still in one of all of those movies, but Ed Frost is like the duo.
Got it.
Yeah.
So
or Nick Frost, sorry.
Yeah. So the point is that with this one is that I think it was well done. I think they had a lot of fun making it. Clearly, they're having a good time. Yeah. But to me, for some reason, I felt like the tone was off.
Yeah.
I felt like they tried to make it legitimately scary and then tried to make it as funny and goofy as they could. And to me, a movie that rides that line the absolute best that you can't top is Evil Dead 2. Something like that is a prime example of that executing something like that perfectly, or even a Cabin in the Woods where it's hilarious, but it's funny. It's it's hilarious, but it also has legitimately creepy parts or legitimately cool parts. Shaun of the Dead is kind of fun. It's kind of cool. I see why people like it, but for some reason I just hate it, dude. I don't know why. I think I really dislike that movie. I've seen it once. I've never seen it again. I've seen parts of it. And I just feel like it's a miss. Just overall, it's like they were trying for something, and I don't think they succeeded.
I think if you think of Cabin in the Woods, that movie, I think because maybe it's a play on itself of all the scary movies and stuff like that. And there's there's the campiness, the fun, the seriousness, but you're invested in the characters because there is an outcome that has to be done, and then you're kind of you're kind of torn and what's they have to make a decision, dying or living. If they eventually die, then the world is saved. If not, then the world gets defeated. But they do it in a way where you're invested in the characters in a weird sort of way. Where Shaun of the Dead, you're invested in the characters, but it's almost like in the beginning it just seems very cartoony, very slapstick, like Three Stooges. Yeah. There's the zombie.
They lost me at the whole. And
so so it's very cartoony and very slapstick, and then so it's giving that tone of kind of just like a Zombieland kind of movie.
Right.
And so then
even Zombieland did it better, I think.
Yeah, because they just kept it more campy, more silly.
Right.
There were some serious moments, but it was more camp. But this, it was silly. And then it at one point when they get to the Winchester, I think it was the Winchester, the bar,
the pub,
it turned all serious because now so in part of the Shaun of the Dead, I guess Shaun, he has an issue with his stepdad or the husband of his mom, and there's their relationship was kind of whatever and everything, and it's just cool, I get the idea here, but then the dad or the stepdad dies, and then he's crying, and he's they're talking about their feelings of I always loved you kind of thing or whatever, and you're just kind of what all of a sudden,
right?
We're going from this silly to someone you don't even care about, the character didn't care about, and now he's super invested, and you're but you don't care about him, and it's a silly movie, so it's that would make sense in a dramatic movie where it's there's all these the stepdad was trying to prove himself to him. And all this stuff, and it's a serious movie, and then the stepdad gets cancer, and then Shaun never gets to say his goodbyes or something, and then you're okay, I'm invested in that. But this is a zombie movie, and then you're what? And then other people start dying, and then it's just, the tone shifts to kind of not dark, but serious in a sense.
But you see where I have the issue with
yeah.
it. Yeah.
And so then I'm like, okay, like, are we supposed to be like invested in this movie and this guy that like, well, not just the guy, but the movie, because it's like, well, is it fun or is it campy or is it serious?
Right.
And I would love to hear Jason's rebuttal because that'd be great. But the idea is like, for me, I liked it. I didn't love it, and it's not like in my top like zombie movies. Like, I think Zombieland did an amazing job of like making it fun and campy.
Yeah.
I thought Shaun of the Dead was trying to do that, and then they made this weird turn, and I just didn't think it fit. But everybody loves it for whatever reason.
God bless them.
Maybe because it's like, you know, British or whatever, and people like British stuff.
Give me 28 Days Later for a good British one any day of the week.
Yeah, there you go.
My whole bottom line is the one thing I'll disagree with you on is you go, oh, they make you care about the stepdad. I was like, you're like, and that's someone you don't really care about. I think that's my main problem is I didn't care about any of the characters the entire movie. And then when it tries to get serious, I'm like, I don't wipe all these people out. I don't care.
Yeah.
I felt like there was no real stakes to some degree. And there was tone issues, and I didn't like the characters. Like, it just, I wasn't
well,
invested
then they're like,
in
let's
anything.
go to the pub, and it's like, that's the stupidest idea ever.
Yeah.
And then they're like, it's like, yeah, but then like, I don't know, but they're like, I think it's like that tone of like, we're walking with the zombies. They're not going to tell us, and now all of a sudden the zombies are like unstoppable and they're killing everybody. It's like, wait, so are they goofy? Can you get away from them? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, his best friend turns into zombies and they're playing PlayStations. It's like, then it switches back to silly. Cartoonish.
Yep. Don't care for it. I do.
So another movie I actually love, but Jordan doesn't. And this is like, I get the cheesiness of it because it's almost like it is a made for TV movie, after school special kind of. But Jordan does not love the original It with Tim Curry. I love it because Tim Curry is a
He's one of my favorites of all time, by the way.
You're not a Tim Curry fan.
He is the best part of that movie, and to me, I think he might be the only good part of that movie.
Yeah. Give me Georgie.
Yeah, Georgie.
We off Georgie. And so you've never seen it. Don't act.
I saw it a long time ago, but it's 3 hours of a lot of boring stuff. I don't know how your ADD kept up with it. I just remember back in the VHS days, it was always next to Braveheart with like the double VHS cassette one. Anyway, it's too long.
But that's like, okay, but even like we were talking about Rosemary's Baby, that was a movie that there's a lot of talk, but there's creepy stuff that happens. And I think I like characters, and there's a lot of characters in that movie.
Right.
A lot of individual characters, and then you go back and you see those different characters, and there's creepy stuff. So I like the movie. I understand why you don't. Like, is it just too cheesy or too...
I think it was a mixture of things. Is that a lot of the actors just, I felt like it was not a very well acted movie. Okay. I think that's part of it. The other part is that it's too long. The third part is that the special effects and their budget were not what they needed. And again, it's hard because I'm comparing it to It Chapter 1 and 2 that came out a few years back,
the remakes, which are
both
amazing.
really good.
Yes.
They're both really, really good. So to me, that is like kind of the perfect version of It, those part 1 and part 2. But for this one, I get the charm of it. I think it's probably due to the fact, too, that maybe I didn't grow up with it. Maybe you saw it when you were a little kid, and I saw parts of it, but I didn't see the whole thing as a kid.
And I think seeing it as a kid, it's really creepy, and there's a lot of creepy stuff. But yes, it's definitely a made-for-TV movie.
Right.
And so, like, the budget is definitely limited, which is weird because it has a lot of, like, big stars in it.
Yeah, it had a lot of big-name actors at the time.
Like, who was it? I was going to say Harry Doyle. Harry Doyle.
I was just gonna say that too.
Not Harry Doyle. It's a Harry from
John Larroquette.
Had John Ritter in it.
Yeah, John Ritter. Yep.
So not
the guy with the mole.
So, who?
I don't know the guy with the mole.
What mole?
I don't know. You'll
There's
see him as an adult.
It was. It had Tim Curry.
Yeah, that's the mole guy. Richard
Thomas. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Harry Anderson,
Molly
Richard
McGee.
Mazur, John Ritter, Tim Curry. Jonathan Brandis from Sidekicks. It had Seth Green in it.
It had some good actors.
Yes,
I just felt like the script wasn't there, or they didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and so it was just, I liked it, and like I said, I know it's long, and I know like you're like, how do you like it with your ADD? But I don't know. It's a movie I like. I know, but Jordan,
to each his own.
To each his own.
It's not one I hate. It's just one of those that I saw once, and I was like, I don't need to see that again. But I think also part of it is just the big spider fight at the end, where I was like, it looks like a sci-fi movie from the 50s a little bit, you know, and has that kind of vibe to it. Where I was like, yeah. So I was just like, it's okay. I mean, they did their best. But
my favorite is the inhaler.
Yeah, exactly,
You're like,
exactly.
You're like, really?